Thank you for attending this evening's Marketing and Events Committee. On our agenda, item 1 is to receive apologies for absence. Have we received any?
So apologies for Councillor Chapman, Councillor Daisy, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Morton and Councillor White.
Thank you. Anyone else with any? Or is that everyone? Okay, item 2 is to note declarations of members' interests in this evening's meeting. None to declare. Item 3 is to confirm and sign the minutes of the last committee held on the 30th of January. If everyone's had a chance to have a read through. May I have a proposer of the minutes? Thank you. Seconder?
Well, I wasn't here, but I think I'm allowed to second it.
No, you can't say.
Thank you. All in favour that the minutes are good? Yeah? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 4 is public participation. Have we received any questions, queries? No? And no one present. Okay. Moving on to item 5, to review the year-to-date financial position for the Marketing and Events Committee.
You're at the end of the financial year now. The spend has been within profile. Everything that's planned for the coming financial year will include for any earmark reserves from this year that have already been approved. So there's nothing I've identified as a concern on there, but obviously if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask.
Good. Yep. Okay, thank you. Item 6. To receive an update relating to progress towards the business delivery plan as it relates to this committee.
First we've got an update on the anti-violence B coming to Crewe. So planning has continued for that with Crewe Policing Team, Cheshire, Constabulary and Cheshire East Safer Streets Partnership. There's also lots of other partners joining the discussions now, so the likes of CGL, My Cheshire Without Abuse, and lots of others that will be fantastic to have involved in the project. So far we've got around 26, so a few more than when I did this the meeting pack. We've got around 26 different activities and events programmed throughout the month of May while we have the Bee in Crewe. So lots of different engagement with youth groups, with schools. We've got visits to the Bee, we've got artwork going in windows, all kinds of things happening. We've got BMX events, loads of different things going on, and the police have been really heavily involved in that, so it's been fantastic to have them on board.
Can I ask about the to be confirmed activity of the police? What types of activities?
The to be confirmed ones, so a few of them have now been updated since I added this to the meeting pack, but they are mostly school visits and ones, so it'll be schools coming out to the Bay and they'll be having engagement talks with the policing team about those anti-violence messaging. All moving along really nicely.
If I may, Jim. Last year when we had the Knife Angel, I spoke to a sergeant, somebody or other, and was trying to arrange to have another meeting because I thought that did a lot just by being there. And when you started explaining to people about they were all knives that came off the street that made this, some of the people I think thought we were lying, but I tried hard to, maybe not hard enough, but I was trying to get together with the police to see if we can keep the momentum going, and they've never got back to me. I put my hands up. It's most probably partly my fault because, as you know, but with one thing or another I've been quite busy, but I would have liked to have at least do something more so that we could have kept the momentum going about knives. because I understand it's still a problem with certain parts of Crewe, which we need to do something about.
And were you planning on almost like another amnesty day or something?
Yeah, or that, or anything else. I was quite open to any suggestions that would highlight the fact that knives are no good on the street. But as I say, nothing's come of it.
Well, hopefully, having the anti-violence be in Crewe is going to kind of almost like relaunch that messaging again and act as a bit of a legacy really to the Knife Angel project. So it'll just keep that in people's mind, and there are a few things that are starting to happen again around even the Knife Angel now. So you might be aware that Creative Crew, who ran the poetry competition for the Knife Angel project, they've actually pulled together a poetry book which they're doing a book launch for in a couple of weekends' time in the market hall.
Yeah.
So there's things like that that are starting to happen, and you know the police have been invited to that and things, and they are doing lots of work. But yeah, I will mention it to them, and if you want to be involved in any of the conversations.
Well, after the 14th, obviously I'm not in this position, but I would like to be involved going on, because I think it's something that at least Crewe should be pushing and educate people that carrying knives is not very funny, not very clever, and certainly not big.
So I suppose it's about there being further anti-violence messaging in future, continuing that message really, isn't it? Throughout everything that we're doing.
Yeah, I think the bee is obviously a great continuation of the theme that we're trying to promote, not just knives but violence in general. I know as the photo shows, a lot of gun symbolism in the statue or structure itself, but yeah, I think we should keep running with it, definitely.
Well, if it's possible, if anything does come up of it after May, or if I can be involved, I would like to be.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So the next update, if no one's got any other questions about the bee, is just on the music events. So just as a bit of a recap, earlier in the year, 4 music events being brought to Crewe in 2024 was approved. So far we are working with Friends of Queen's Park to deliver a Picnic in the Park event, as a bit of a legacy, I suppose, to the last 2 big events that have happened there and how well received they've been, and also kind of as a bit of I suppose the Friends of group, they're almost an example of what a fantastic volunteer group looks like, and they have offered to kind of act as almost like mentors to develop the events volunteers that we've got that are interested in being involved in other events like that in the future. So that's a really exciting event. We've got 5 different acts booked for that, 3 that will be on the main stage throughout the day, so 3 music acts which are a mixture of different bands, and then 2 that are more sort of like community acts that will be on in the cafe or on the bandstands earlier on in the day. So really positive, and we've had lots of different stores and things come forward wanting to be involved in that as well, sort of community group stores and things. So that's moving along nicely. And then secondly, I just wanted to update you on the second music event that I've been working on. That is a youth music event. So youth was a big, and youth development was a big theme that kept coming up again and again throughout the consultation on what these music events should look like. So I have recently advertised for a creative producer who will engage with youth audiences to develop and deliver a music event, and along that process those youth audiences that are involved will have the opportunity to develop skills in not just the musical performance side and showcasing that talent, but also in the kind of the organising and planning and tech side of music events, so it's a really good opportunity to engage with them. The college are on board already, and they've suggested perhaps late June, July time as a potential date for that event. We will look at defining the venue and things like that once we've got the creative producer freelancer in place. Then I've got an update on the UK SBF Arts Trail, so things are moving along really nicely with that. The community consultation phase and stakeholder consultation phase has started, so that's starting at quite sort of a high level. So at the moment the project team are kind of like mapping out who's who, what infrastructure there is already. They're kind of analysing previous consultation and evaluation, so that they can work out kind of how they move that forwards, and develop the creative skills and crew. And then they'll move on to engaging with the community in a little bit more detail and start to influence what that trail is going to look like. So that will be through a series of workshops where the community will get the opportunity to develop visual creative skills and craft skills. So yeah, that's moving along really nicely. We've had lots of engagement from members of the community already, and the announcement of the trail has kind of brought a lot of local artists out of the woodwork that we wouldn't have known about otherwise. Some really different ones, you know, lots doing like sculpture and murals and all kinds of things. It was mentioned in a previous committee meeting that it would be good to look at the potential of bringing further public art to Crewe. And I know there's been lots of other conversations going on about that in the background as well. So I have just included a couple of suggestions of how we could look into that. So we could potentially look into the decoration of utility boxes and murals in spaces such as the side of the building, which was mentioned before. You know, just to add a bit more impact to that trail and continue that that art trail development within the town. So there is a conclusion on that shortly. Then I've just got an update on Crazy Races. So you may have noticed that they have closed their headline charity selection recently, and the outcome of that, after receiving over 1,000 votes from the Crewe community, is that the headline charity won't just be one charity, it'll be two. It'll be St Luke's Hospice and then Crewe-based Hopes and Beams, so it's really good news for them. So in other events they've raised loads of money for charities, so that's really positive. At the point of writing this report, we had 23 teams confirmed. We've now got 27 teams confirmed, and then the headline charities, they'll have 2 teams each themselves as well. So that's kind of how they raise the money for them. So that, you know, we're getting there now with the number of teams really.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Councillor.
It's just a quick question about the entry. I know it says on the applications that it's a case of they enter until they're full, basically.
Yeah.
Do we know how close we are to having a full capacity?
So we're on 31 at the moment, so 40 is the maximum, but to be honest with you, if they don't get any, it'd be nice if they got more, but if they don't get any more, it's not a risk. They've got a very full schedule, so in some ways it would be of benefit if there weren't any more, but I'm sure there will be.
I know a couple of people are scrambling to try and put teams together and
Yeah.
get an entry fee sorted out, so I was just curious.
Yeah, absolutely, but that will close once they get to 40. So there's a scrutineer event which will be close to the event itself. It normally takes place about a month to 2 weeks before the event, so obviously they'll have to have everything sort of finalised, all the teams and everything by then, so that they're allowing teams time to build their carts and enter that scrutineer event, because they can't enter the race without attending the scrutineer event. So yeah, that's all moving along really nicely. One thing that has come up with it being in quite a residential area is the potential that it could cause a bit of disruption for local residents. Obviously there will be road closures in place, and the road that, the section of the road that is taking place on there isn't actually any residential housing that isn't accessible in a different way. So they have considered things like that. And they're arranging alternative parking for those people who are on Ford Street, which will be slightly affected, mainly with sort of infrastructure things.
No, I wanted to just. Is it St Michael's or St Mark's at the top of it?
St. Michael's.
St. Michael's.
I ran into the resident priest there the other week, and he was asking about crazy races, and basically wanted to see how they get involved to support.
Yeah.
In terms of that, they have their own sort of community hall. So.
Yeah, so they are going to be involved now, so they're going to use it as an opportunity to fundraise for the church. They're going to sell bacon butties on the morning off, so I'm sure that the events team that are there on the day will be very pleased with that while they're setting up, and then attendees as they start to arrive. And they're also renting out the church hall from them as well, the events team are, so they're making use of that, so they'll get some income through that, which is really nice. And yeah, hopefully others get involved like that as well. There is actually a community garden on, so there's some assisted living at the bottom of the racetrack on Broad Street, just opposite the Brooklands, and I think they've got a community garden, and they're wanting to fundraise on the day as well, which they've been given permission to do. So some really positive add-on things that are coming out of it. But yeah, in order to reduce any disruption that might be caused to local residents, I have asked committee members to consider setting up a park and ride type situation from the new multi-storey car park in the town centre. So that will bring people into the town centre first of all, make use of that new facility and sort of showcase that to people, and then there'll be a bus available if approved that will take people to the event and then back again, so they can make use of food and beverage facilities and things like that on the day as well. So yeah, we'll move on to that shortly. Last weekend there was a international Women's Day event. So there were over 50 different stalls there, and they had performances throughout the day from local women, including singers, poets, writers, speakers, sports teams, and roller skaters. Everything went down really well. Then while I was there promoting White Ribbon along with Dawn Clark, so yeah, some really good positive feedback on that.
I was there as well.
Sorry, Dennis.
Don't forget about, I know you can't see me, but one thing, sorry, I've been told that the entrance fee is £150 plus VAT. Now, I don't know if we can do anything about it, but if it's a charity, why are we paying VAT? I'm not really au fait with all this, but I always thought that when you're a charity, you can claim the VAT back.
Some can, some can't. But
Sorry?
some can and some can't, but that's a VAT regulation. We can't override that, I'm afraid.
No?
No, that's
It also depends
HMRC.
whether it's legal purchasing or whether it's a service. And I presume this falls into a service category, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's HMRC regulations. There's nothing we can do about that.
No, okay. I had to ask.
Yeah.
And
fair
the other
enough,
thing,
yeah.
is it going down Broad Street?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Broad Street's a long road. So,
Well, they'll get the money's worth then.
be quite the cheap seats. So is it going from West Street down or from
No,
Badger
so
Avenue?
it'll be going from, so where you've got St Michael's Church,
Yeah.
it'll run down there, down Broad Street to, down Broad Street to Badger Avenue,
Right.
to the crossroads.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Pretty
It's
steep.
the house on the other bit.
Not very far, is it?
It's very
Far enough that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's from just near Hopes and Beams, isn't it? So it's a long way down.
From Hopes and Beams?
No, not quite. It's up that direction though.
I know where it is, but as I say, just from Ford Lane down to the lights
Yeah.
isn't very far at all. Whereas from West Street lights down to the other lights,
Yeah, it's not steep enough down that end.
It's not steep enough on the speed bumps.
I'm not proposing it, sorry. That is the best place in town to run it, Dennis, I promise you. The people who organise these things have been all around town looking at the various options of hills, and that is the best place. It's not too uncentral either. It's not a million miles from the town centre. It's a long enough run for if you're hurtling down 2 inches off the ground. You know, it'll feel like a lifetime.
I used to make those things when I was a kid, and my road was a lot longer than that.
Yeah, never did you any harm, did it?
I bounced a few times. Anyway, sorry.
So I think the key considerations with the location are, first of all, it's got to be a long enough road and a steep enough hill, but also it's got to have some kind of open space where the rest of the event can take place, because there'll be other things happening. There'll be like a whole event site with a screen and rides and stalls and all of that kind of thing going on as well. So it's got to have the space for that and be a road that is easy enough to close. So yeah, we did look at several of the locations. We did a site visit with the team.
It's not a criticism, by the way.
No,
I was thinking, if that's not a nice little run from there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one really looking forward to seeing the spectacle. Okay, any questions on any of those items before we move on?
Just to point out there's...
Oh yes, a consideration. Yeah, so considerations sought, 3 considerations. If I've got the right paper. Yep. To make members aware of projects delivered during this financial year, members are asked to consider approval of a £2,000 allocation of the 23-24 strategic events budget to setting up a park and ride service, as mentioned, for the Crazy Races event, where attendees are encouraged to park at the new multi-storey car park, where they can either catch a bus from the event or walk to the event. So £2,000 from the strategic events budget.
Can I ask, it's going from the car park, but where are they going to drop them off?
So we'll drop them off on Broad Street.
Right.
And will there be a return
Yeah,
service
so
too?
it'll be kind of like a constant kind of park and ride situation throughout the day that's sort of looping back round sort of continuously at different points. So people will be able to get back to the car park as well at the end of the day. And obviously there's other car parks in that area as well, which hopefully we can contribute.
And we've got enough money to cover it. I
Will
propose
they
it.
be charged for the parking in the new car park?
It's on a Sunday, so
Right.
good. Some parking free on Cheshire.
They're not going to like that, are they? People pay and then...
And I guess it's difficult to estimate how many people are going to use the service.
I know that in other towns where they've had a similar setup, say like in Shrewsbury, it's been really busy all day, so it has been something that has been used.
And a benefit to them.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
there a charge for that?
What, for people getting on the bus?
For using the bus?
I wasn't planning on there being a charge for people doing that.
So it's free?
It was, yeah.
In crew, that would be very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I propose that we donate them, or whatever you want. Give the money. Yeah.
2,000 covers it?
Yeah, I've looked into different costs, and that would cover 2 to 3 buses throughout the day, depending on which company we choose to use.
Well, I think we can leave that to Rosie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll second it.
Second. All in favour?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Brilliant. The last consideration, members are asked to consider approving more work being done to explore more public art installations. I think yes, we can consider and agree
Yes,
as a
definitely.
committee.
Yes, definitely.
I was in Cannock the other week, and it was what in terms of the painting, especially the wildlife side of it. They had it all across all the empty shops with the barriers down. It was just all over the town. It looked beautiful. Really did. Didn't even notice they were all shut.
Really brightens it up, doesn't it? You know, it improves spaces, it brings people into spaces as well, just to see it. So
Yeah, and I think we've all felt the change in weather this week, and it's getting warmer and brighter and sunnier, so hopefully, yeah, it should be a great attraction. Thank you. Okay, item 7. Draft Marketing and Events Committee Business Delivery Plan for 24-25.
So no changes on this since last time. I'm aware of too many questions last time. I just wanted to run through things in a bit more detail, really, just to keep you informed of what the plan is really for next year. So obviously, first of all, we've got the Bee coming in May. As mentioned, we've got 26 different events and activities planned for the embedded programme as part of that. So it's not just the Bee, we've got them things happening as well. And at the moment, there's about 10 other organisations, including the police, who I mentioned earlier, who are involved with that project. We've then got the first music event of the 4, so we've got a Picnic in the Park event, and as mentioned, there's lots of embedded events, volunteering, development opportunities associated with that event. We've then got a couple of community events in June and July with the Armed Forces Day and Crew Pride that we've allocated budget towards supporting, and then of course we've got Crew Crazy Races, which is going to be a fantastic event for the town. It's going to bring thousands of people in, and it's also going to raise lots of money for local charities as well. So really positive event happening. As mentioned before, there's lots of other activities going on the day with that as well. So it's not just the race, you've got the stalls, you've got the fair activities, and then there's also STEM activities on the day. So they invite lots of engineering organisations to come and run different activities. So like the UTC are bringing their 3D printer, and there's other organisations that are doing similar. So I think it really fits well with the event strategy and also the Crew brand filter as well as an event. So that's that one. Then we have got the youth music event, which I've already told you about that. And obviously there will be lots of engagement opportunities with that from the 1st of April through to June, July when the event is delivered. So it'll be sort of like weekly workshops with schools and youth groups. So lots of opportunity for them to get involved there, that youth audience. Then we've got Operation Summer. I've put down a target of 100 different activities and events for this year, based on the fact that we had 90 last year, and a lot of them it's looking like we'll be returning this year, which is great. I've already had conversations with the library and with different acts and activity facilitators that were part of the programme last year. So that's looking really positive. Music event 3, I've not done a huge amount of work towards as of yet, because I've been looking at the others, but I have started conversations with the Market Hall, and we're potentially looking at delivering an event on Lyceum Square if we can find a suitable date, along with the Market Hall, on perhaps one of the dates when they have their record fairs on, and we have discussed the potential of that being themed, and maybe even using it as a bit of a precursor to the Northern Soul Keep On Keeping On activity that's planned later in the year. Lots of other things planned in between them, which I think you know kind of what they are, but I just also wanted to mention that Christmas light switch on, as discussed in previous meetings. There will be a Christmas market again, which we're hoping to grow from last year, and there will be 2 stages with acts on this year, so that's the plan for that. And then we've got the Arts Trail ongoing while all of that's happening, and there's around 40 opportunities for community engagement with that, for consultation, but also that skills and knowledge building and helping to shape the trail. So that's just a bit of a rundown of that. yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say on that. Unless anyone's got any questions.
Yeah, for benefit, I'm sure you can see that's quite a detailed work programme.
Yes.
There are, in amongst that, just to bottom out the numbers, there are 12 distinct markets being delivered, 17 distinct events, 24 associated with the bee, 100 associated with Operation Summer, 30 for each of Easter and Autumn, and 72 associated with Heritage. That's coming from one officer. And the reason I say that is, one, it's very impressive, that's great, but two, please manage expectations about what else can be done, because I think that's disproportionately a lot from one person, which is only to be lauded and congratulated. But it's lovely when successes happen, because we want more and more successes. That doesn't even take into account what I've just read about UKSPF Arts Trail, which is a whole other stream of work as well. We all want more to happen, that's all fine, and I don't say we can't do it, but if you want more to happen, that's fine, but I would ask you, we must always consider how we're going to resource that if you want more on top of this, because this is a hard to sustain level as it is, let alone any additionals, which I'd encourage additionals, but you will have to resource that accordingly.
Be careful, she'll be asking for a rise.
She can't have one.
I know she can't, but that's not the point, she'll be asking for it.
Yeah, well, cost
No,
of it.
Just to echo, thank you for so much work,
Yeah.
and just so much going on for the town and the people. I'm really proud to be a member of the committee and yeah, working on this.
Well done.
Okay, if there's no more questions, we can move on to item 8, social media and comms updates.
So, as you can see, January and February have been slightly quieter months for comms, mostly because it's just a quieter time of year. There's not quite as much going on. But I did just want to highlight a couple of things. So we have passed the 6,000 followers mark on Facebook for the first time in February, so that's really positive. And we've gained 1,500 of those followers in the last 12 months. So that really shows, you know, the reach that our social media is starting to have. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's got any questions about anything.
Just a comment to say the fact that in terms of the feeds, it's amazing to see how often Crewe Town Council is being mentioned and shared. So it's showing.
That's really good. Okay, item 9, Public Realm Christmas lighting mock-ups.
So this is the amended mock-up based on the discussion that we had last time. So it was discussed that the lighting should be bright lights on Municipal Square as it has been in previous years. You all liked Design 3, which was the White Starburst motifs for the town centre. So on those like gantry lights that you can see, that was what you liked the look of. And you also questioned whether there would be anything on Queensway, which that was already included, they just hadn't done a mock-up of the design. So that's been included so you can see, so it'd just be that sort of cluster lights along the top of the buildings along there. And then obviously there's already some lighting in place on Victoria Street anyway, that's there permanently. The mock-up of the Municipal Square, I think you'll all agree with me, that's a little bit more like what we were looking for. So we've got the bright white lights on the trees with the sort of like tree, like antler type motifs on the poles in the square. So they look really nice and bright, along with the 7-metre tall Christmas tree, and then also the walk-through bauble sort of statement piece on Memorial Square as well. So that's really nice. Really nice and visible, like from the Vernon Way roundabout and things like that as well. So it makes the town centre look really nice and bright that time of year. And then they've also done a mock-up of the Nantwich Road motif design so that you can see the two that you preferred along that road there.
Like them.
Yes.
Quite difficult to picture it when it's all in sort of individual pictures, isn't it? But yeah, I think it'll look really good.
I'll have a walk through all the,
Yeah.
I remember last time we met, we were talking about as well, and obviously the Interstory car park in itself. Just was there any further sort of thought to what we could potentially do? With the fact it's going to be, I was just thinking about such a large structure in darkness.
Yeah, at this stage, I have asked Cheshire East for some of the details of the infrastructure and the scale of it up there. I haven't been able to retrieve that information yet. I'm hopeful that as we get near towards completion, we can get onto site, frankly, and do it ourselves and work out what the scales are, what we need to work on. Without the information, to be fair, on this team, they can't work it out without the measurements and
so is
understanding.
it something that probably won't happen for this year, but might be next?
It's not that it can't happen this year, it's until we can get the information, so
Yeah.
we can't provide you with an option, unfortunately. So we're trying.
It's just logistics, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Keep it.
As long as we're sort of looking for an answer if we can get one.
Yep.
Cool.
So what do we need to decide today?
Just to confirm that you're all happy with the mock-ups of
Oh,
what
yes.
we've requested. They're just additional things that they can provide, something that might be things that we look at in future years.
Maybe change that to crew.
Taller as well.
Leave it as Edinburgh, confuse them.
Confuse train passengers.
It is the sort of thing you could have positioned event-wise, longer-term-wise, in a space that you like, that lettering. All options available. I'm quite a big advocate for permanent positioning of projectors that can point at the municipal building and light that up, seasonally representative of remembrance activities, Christmas, Easter, other cultural activities going on throughout the year. And make representation there. Equally, just sometimes it can be fun to put something on there. It's there to be considered. We haven't got anything there. It's just laying the groundwork. You want us to go and get some more information.
I like that one. I don't know. I think that's very good.
Good. So if members are happy, that's in response to through the tender process. This company was the winning tender, and then their proposals were 3 options, and you drew out the Snowflake and Swags as the cross streets were your favourite, and the coloured schemes were the ones you wanted. The motifs, the ones you wanted. You wanted dispersed motifs down Nantwich Road, which have been mocked up now, and a white thing on Municipal Square, a white theme on Municipal Square. So what we're saying to you now is that's the scheme. Where you're happy to go ahead. If you're not, well, I don't know what we'll do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, it reflects everything that you said. You're happy to go ahead on that basis, and that's that. We can sign that contract and get that into play. The longer we've got to run into it, I know it's March, and I realise, but as it's it's a complex install, it's a complex understanding of the infrastructure, the power, the sources, all the anchor bolts are going to be tested and reset if they need it, all that sort of thing. The longer running we've got, the more assured we are of completion on time.
Excellent.
I think what I was most impressed with, last time we were talking about it, it's the fact that we can add things in the future. Obviously we've got to find the funding for it.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that we can add other areas in the future.
Exactly right. It's not, you're not stuck to just having these lights. Once the contract's signed, we are fixed to provide these lights for 3 years. But anything on top of that is also possible to do.
And as you said, for any other kind of events as well, or just want to highlight
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah, we're happy, I think.
Yes, we're
Yeah,
happy.
that's very
Thank
good.
you.
Would it be okay if I asked for a show of hands on that? So, a proposal, a seconder, and a
I'll propose it.
resolution.
Proposed, seconded, all in favour?
Yeah, yeah.
Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item 10 is to note the proposed date of the next meeting as Wednesday, the 22nd of May at 6.